Dragons and Nomads, welcome back to the channel. Today I have a different video for you guys. This is going to be my first product review. It's not going to be a full review because I haven't had a lot of time with this product. However, I just kind of wanted to give my first impressions and kind of show you guys how this works. So this has kind of taken the airsoft market by storm here recently. I've heard a lot of people talking about it, a lot of people saying that they want it. I didn't plan to buy it. However, I find myself with one in possession. So this is the EMG Autobot. It is an electric automatic speed loader. Now, you know, a lot of speed loaders is where you gotta stick the thing in the mag and push the plunger, or they even have the sidewinders where you crank it with the magazine in it, and I'm gonna get to those later. What I want to do today is a comprehensive sort of comparison between this speed loader and then compare it to a manual one, such as the store normal plunger style ones that you would get for really cheap, and then also the Odin Innovation Sidewinder, which is probably one of the more common speed loaders that you see most players have. So this is the box that it comes in. This is a $75 speed loader, which in comparison is very expensive. When you open it up, what it does come with is the speed loader itself. It's very chunky. It's pretty big. It's, kind of heavy in terms of, how speed loaders go, but, when you're thinking about normal speed loaders that are made of plastic and everything like that, this is pretty big in comparison, so it's going to be heavy. It also comes with this little baggie that has a couple of different nozzles on it. Now, as far as I understand, these nozzles all fit a specific purpose. Maybe they use for like different style of magazines. You could have one that might fit for like gas blowback magazines, stuff like that. This nozzle right here is the one that we will be primarily using. We don't really have a need for these other three. And the other cool thing about this nozzle is it actually serves two functions. Not only does it serve to load the magazines, but it also helps you unload the magazines. And the specific model that I bought did come with a 600 milliamp hour 11.1 volt LiPo battery that is covered in hair. Apologies for that. It is wired to Dean's, same with the speed loader. It is a Dean's connector. There is a Model 2 that does come with a 7.4 volt LiPo. I've been told that it's really slow on a 7.4, so I went ahead and got the 11.1 because, it's better. So in order to put the battery on the bottom, there is a little door that you just pull off. If I can, there we go. Just pull it off, and then right in there is the battery connector. As you see, wired to Dean's. You can fit the entire battery in here if you would like. But I feel like that would probably cause it to get stuck or caught, potentially caught on something. I don't know if I would personally want to risk that. However, once you plug it in just like a normal Dean's style battery, that wire can just sit there on the side. And so here is a picture of it. There's a little indent right there, so it's not perfectly sitting on the wire. However, that is now plugged in. And then you have your power switch here on the side. BBs are loaded into the reservoir up top here. I'm not sure exactly how many BBs can fit in this. I'll have to see on their website, see what they say. And then this is where the BBs come out of. So that nozzle that I had mentioned earlier goes right on top like that. When you are ready to load your magazine, you just put it on top and then push down with it. This pushing down will cause it to unload. And if we turn this on here, maybe you can kind of hear it. So that's the noise that it would make when it does feed BBs. And they will go up into the magazine. So in front of me here, I have three different style of speed loaders. I have the common plunger style manual one. You simply load it with BBs, put the, I don't know what that part's called, I call it the nipple. Put the nipple into the magazine and then simply manually load it just like that. Then we have the Odin Innovations Sidewinder. These are very popular. You simply load the reservoir with BBs. The magazine will fit inside of the bottom of it like that. You just sidewind it, as the name implies, and that will load your BBs for you. And then here we have the Autobot that I have just recently picked up. So what we are going to do is we are going to use all three of these magazines and time how long it takes to fill up one mid-cap. This is a Lancer Tactical Speed magazine. These are 130 rounds each. So we are going to test the difference between all three magazines and see how long it takes to fill. We are going to be using these .25 tracers. I don't think the weight or this type of BB really matters, but I do know some speed loaders are finicky when it comes to the specific type of BBs that you use. So for the manual speed loaders, one advantage that they do have is they are cheap. This was, I think, like $12. You can buy some for as little as $5 or even $7. If you're brand new in airsoft, it's a great way to get started, especially if you don't have as many magazines. However, once you start getting more magazines, loading several of these with this hand crank is a pain in the ass. Mine even likes to get stuck. Doing that over and over and over again will just cramp your hand. So we're gonna load it here real quick. I believe this speed loader holds approximately 300 or so BBs. So, like I said, that little nipple that's right there just goes on the inside of the lips for this. And then you simply just push the plunger down, and that is how you load your BB. Now, just like all of the other speed loaders, you will know when the magazine is full because you will start to get resistance. You can see I can't push my finger any further down, and if you actually watch, because this is translucent, you can see inside of it, there are no more BBs going down into the magazine. So that is a full mag right there. Some pros to these speed loaders, like I said, they're very cheap. They are, there's an abundance of them. You can buy them from pretty much everywhere that sells airsoft products. This is shaped like an M4 magazine, so you could stick this like in an M4 pouch, for example. Like I said, if you don't have a whole lot of magazines, maybe you only have one or even two. If you run out of ammo, it'd be quick to just pull it out real quick, reload while you're on the field. Another pro of these, though, is that they do come in a lot of different variations, so you can get them as cheap as, like I said, $5 to $7. You can find some that are like $10, $15, $20. There's even some, this bottle here, for instance, there's some that will screw onto the end of that bottle that turn this entire thing into a BB reservoir for your speed loader. Some disadvantage to these is because they are cheap, they are usually pretty low quality. I've seen several people have them that break. BB capacity is another thing. Only 300 rounds means realistically you can only load 2 of these magazines. The EPM1 magazines, they hold 250 rounds. I think one of these would fill up an entire EPM1. You'd have a couple of BBs left over, but not a whole lot. But overall, if you are a beginner, these are perfect. They will fit the majority of your airsoft replicas. This one does come with an adapter that works for gas blowback magazines. Because I don't have a gas blowback, I can't show you guys that. And I currently don't know where the adapter is for it. But, like I said, these do work for most replicas, if not all of them. Up next here, we're going to move on to the M12 Sidewinder. Now, this specific speed loader was designed for M4 style magazines. The way that it works, like I said, you load the reservoir in the top of BBs. I think it holds about 1,200 rounds, if I remember correctly. Maybe even more. You load it just like that. I put quite a lot in there that I'm not going to use, but you can see in there's some BBs. Now, if you look on the bottom here, you can see the nipple where the magazine goes. The magazine clips in there just like that. It's kind of built like an M4 magwell, essentially. So that is locked in there. It does not come out unless you push this button on the side. But now that it's in there, all you got to do is simply turn the crank clockwise, just like that, and you can hear the noise, and you can actually see the BB window here as I turn it. You see the BBs fill. And now you have a full magazine. One advantage to these is that if you run M4 magazines, they are super quick, they are super efficient. Like I said, they fit perfect for M4 magazines. I'm not really sure if there's an M4 magazine that doesn't fit these. I've seen people use them all over the place for all different kinds of magazines. They hold an amazing amount of ammo. You can reload multiple magazines with these things. They're big, but like you can easily store them in a bag. Like I have that backpack I keep on me. I can store 1 or 2 of those in there. You can, load teammates out while you're on the field. One disadvantage though, if you can tell I am holding it upside down, when you're done loading your magazine, it likes to spill BBs, which is fine. You can just load them right back into the reservoir. But once you are done loading it, if you flip it upside down, pull your magazine out, you can then turn it back over to catch those lost BBs. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to load it with a completely fresh mag as fast as I can, just so that you guys can see exactly how fast these things are. So here's a fresh magazine. It is another Lancer 130 round. We're going to stick it in, and the second I start cranking, and I'll let you guys see the BB window, the second I start cranking, I'll start the timer. Full. I felt resistance, that's when you know it's full. See there, it won't go down. It's very tight. Oops, again, flip it upside down, pull it. Get rid of the loose BBs. And there you have it. One disadvantage to these speed loaders is they are about $40, which is pretty expensive in comparison, especially when you look at these manual ones. If you're just getting into airsoft, it's not something that you really need. It's not something I do recommend. However, if you're like me, I think I have now like 12 or 13 M4 magazines. If you're carrying anywhere between, like, I would say more than 3 on you at a time, you definitely are going to want to pick up one of these, because hand loading, like I said, it cramps. It cramps your hands very bad. Those are a pain to work with, and you're sitting there just going at them for so many magazines. I mean, especially if you run EPM 1s. If you exclusively run EPM 1s or mid caps that are larger than 130, I highly recommend you get one of these to save your fingers. Save yourself the pain. And I didn't show it with the automatic speed loader, but once you open up that reservoir, when you're ready to empty the magazines, you can just empty them straight back in the top. And then here's that first mag I loaded too, but oh, I spilled some out. You know, that way you can reuse the BBs you didn't use and keep them stored in there. Now, up next, we do have the EMG Autobot. So on the top, there is a reservoir, just like the Odin. You just pour BBs into it. This thing is ready to go. So, once again, nipple on this part of the nozzle. Go straight onto the magazine. All you have to do is then just push it down, and it loads your mags for you. Watch. You will start to feel some resistance when it is completely full. This even rose a little bit because there's some BBs that do still come out, as you saw. But once again, you just put those right back in. And we're gonna do a second mag here just to show you. So we're gonna put that back on. And it's full. Now, one other thing that is really cool about this speed loader is, like I said, this nozzle does also double as a second device. It will help you unload your BB. So if you open your BB reservoir, you can place, okay. If you open the BB reservoir, you can place it right on top of that instead. And then if you just put your magazine on it, it empties them right back into the reservoir. And then that way, you don't drop a single one. And that is really, really convenient. So some pros about the EMG Autobot is that it's automated. You don't have to do anything. You just have to sit there, put your magazine on the thing, let it load. This thing is great for if you have multiple high capacity magazines, such as the 250 round EPM 1s like I previously mentioned. This thing is also especially great if you have different styled magazines. For example, AK magazines, MP5 magazines, basically any magazine that this does not fit. Like I said, these were fit specifically for M4 magazines. That being said, they do sell adapters, and I actually have one. This is an AK adapter. It goes into the bottom just like an M4 magazine would. Oh, I put it in backwards. It goes into the bottom just like an M4 magazine would. It locks into place, and then what you are able to do is take an M4 mag and load it as if it were an M4 mag. It goes in there, and then you just gotta twist it to load it. Now, one disadvantage to doing it this way is that these loaders, these adapters, do cost extra. So you're already paying $40 for the loader itself, and then you're paying another $15 to $25 for the adapter, I would imagine. It also depends on what kind of magazines you have. If you have something that's a little bit more obscure, you may not even be able to get an adapter. These adapters are also pretty tight, and they still do spill BBs if you manage to catch that. It spills a lot of BBs. That's another disadvantage to the Odin. It spills a lot of BBs. But these obscure style magazines, I put obscure in quotes because AK mags are pretty standard, but these type of magazines that are not M4 mags are great for the Autobot. So that's all you gotta do. No adapters, no hand loading. Okay, well, it appears that the nozzle can get stuck in the magazine, so that didn't load any of those BBs, and it just shot them out everywhere. Let's try that again. I'm gonna hold the nozzle down this time. There we go. Okay, so It's a little bit finicky, but I promise it does work. I'm new with this product. I don't blame the product. Let's try something else. Here we go. An 80 round QRF magazine from KWA. These are proprietary. Stick that in there. There you go. Now it's completely full. And then once again, you can just pop that over the reservoir and dump it. Same with the AK mag. Dump it. So a few cons about this is that it is battery powered with a LiPo battery. LiPo batteries are kind of expensive and they can be a little bit dangerous. You gotta make sure it's charged in order to use it. It would have been kind of cooler if this thing had like its own internal battery. You could plug in like with a USB-C and do it that way. You also saw that the nipple came off as I loaded the AK mag, which shot BBs everywhere. You want to try to avoid that from happening if you buy one of these. But the biggest disadvantage that I can think about this thing is the price. By itself, without a battery, it is $75. With the battery included, I think it was about $82. And that doesn't include shipping or anything like that. So if you don't pay enough on Evic's website to get shipping for free, then you have to pay shipping on top of that. You could be paying up to $100 just on a speed loader alone. That being said, the biggest advantage I feel like this speed loader does have is its universality. If that's a word. It's universal with different types of magazines. So like I said, this speed loader is really only good with M4 magazines. You can use it with other mags, such as the QRF, like I said earlier. I can stick it in here and load it, but it's not a perfect fit. Sometimes it loads in there crooked, or sometimes it doesn't work at all. And then for the AK, you need the adapter for it. But this, you don't need that. It saves your hands pain from hand loading it. It saves you from having to buy adapters for this. This just works for everything. And with the other adapters that come in the bag, it works. It works for everything. If you're somebody that has a variety of different magazine styles like I do, I have 9 of these, 6 of these, and 12 of these. Or maybe even more at this point. I might have like 13 or 14. But my point stands, if you are somebody who has a variety of magazine styles, I think this is going to be perfect. If you're somebody who sticks with just M4 magazines, I would maybe stick with the Odin Sidewinder just because it is faster and it's almost half as cheap. However, if you're somebody who's new in airsoft and maybe you don't have an M4, my first AEG wasn't an M4, it was a UMP. Neither of these, I guess this would work with a UMP, I suppose, but the hand style load is great for when you're just beginning, or even this is good for pistols too. You don't need either of these. Speed loaders won't work for pistols really. That's where this comes in handy. This is also just good for having backup ammunition, but it's loud. It's kind of like a high cap magazine. It's like a tactical maraca. The Odins are also loud, and probably a little bit more loud because they do have more ammo capacity in them. That being said, they do sell models that have like some plastic bit on the inside, or it's like some rubbery bit actually, and that, I just realized you can't see it. But they have some rubbery bit on the inside that helps to lessen the volume, the noise that it makes. So, if you're interested in that, you could go for it. And then these two, I'm sure this is also loud. It's not that bad, but I don't think it's full either. It's not even that full. So, but regardless, this is also very expensive, very bulky. This is not something I would recommend you carry on you. If you fall on it or if it drops or anything like that, you're going to be breaking a pretty expensive speed loader. So I definitely don't recommend doing that. It's a really cool piece of technology. It's a great welcome to the airsoft world. I think it's an awesome innovation. And like I said, if you're somebody like me that has a multitude of different style of magazines, I think this is great. I'm especially excited to use this for my AK magazines if we go back to another outdoor field. But it also works perfect for your M4 magazines and whatever else you guys have. I am going to be bringing this with me everywhere from now on. I just have to, I guess one other disadvantage you can think of is because of how sought out these are, I feel like there's a chance that it could be stolen. So I'm not going to be able to just leave it out. I'm probably going to have to, use it and then put it away and then use it and then put it away, which, I mean, I don't know if you would count that as a disadvantage to the product. It's not really the product's fault, but just kind of keep that in mind. These are sold out all of the time. I'm surprised I even managed to find one that was for sale. One other note I want to make about this before we close off the video is that this thing is kind of hard to unload. So there's some BB that will just be stuck in there. I don't know how to get that out. But then also looking at the inside, like if I rattle it, you can hear there's loose BBs in there. But they come out so slowly. I've been sitting here dumping this thing back and forth for the last like 5 minutes. So I guess you could put that on another list of disadvantages if you want. I like to keep all my BBs sorted in their respective bottles. As you can see up there, I've got 2 5s and 3 2s. So yeah, I guess you could say that too. I don't know. That is going to do it for this video. Hope you guys did enjoy the little product impression slash first review. I am going to be using this a lot more. Like I said, we're planning on taking a trip to Milwaukee next weekend on Saturday the 18th. So that will be my first time actually fielding this product. If anything comes up for it, I will let you guys know. That being said, I do still have some more Nashville content coming out before the Milwaukee trip. And I am going to spoil this now, so sorry in advance because he kept it a secret. But if you guys know Squirrely Nuts, I'm going to kind of put his YouTube thing up here. A long time ago, he gave my channel a shout out, like when I was just over 100 subscribers, I'm pretty sure. And him and I have met a couple times. He's a really cool guy. I like playing with him. But he has invited me to come on his live stream. So Wednesday the 15th at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, I am going to be on his live stream for about an hour, I believe. We're just going to be talking about, you know, some airsoft stuff. He said it's going to be like an interview, so I'm interested to see what that entails. But I'm really excited, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you guys go check out his channel, subscribe if you haven't yet. Leave a like on this video, though. Excited to post some more Nashville content. Excited to go back to Milwaukee. In February, there is a chance that Paul and his gang are going to Ohio, which is kind of funny. But they're going to be going to see a couple of fields that are there. I would love to join them. I may not be able to, though. If not, I'll have to see what's going on. I know Central City has a game day in February. I believe the House of Welts may have something going on there, too, in Viola. I've been wanting to go back there for so long, so... And then in April, coming up, is Sheboygan again, so we are going to be going to that. But otherwise, that is all I have for you guys, so stay tuned for more gameplay. Leave a like, comment what you think about this thing in the below. Comment what you think in the below. I've never said that before, but that's going to do it, so I'll see you guys in the next one.